What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of Grow, Live, Dream. I am your boy, LaVar Robinson, and this is my brother, T. Hutton, the motivator. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing really good, man. Doing really good, man. Trying to get better at this social media thing, man. I wanted to make sure I was set up. You see me looking down. I was trying to make sure I'm set up to be able to comment back to our viewers and really ready to get rocking with this, man. I think this is going to be a great topic. I am looking forward to really talking about this topic matter because I feel like it's something that a lot of people are unaware of and they get blindsided by it when they get into that moment.
Yeah, I'm excited about it as well. When you brought it to my attention and we started speaking about it, I was like, oh my goodness, like people need to hear this. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing rocking. But before we do that, make sure that you guys comment, make sure that you guys share, like, love, be a part of the show with us, guys, because we here to provide you with nuggets and knowledge in order to grow, live, dream, guys. We're going to do this thing. All right. So T. Hutton, go ahead and bring us in, brother.
Okay. So like I was telling you earlier, man, like oftentimes we think of our harvest season, and too many times we hear the different sermons, the speeches, the motivational speaker, T. Hutton, the motivator, is like, you ready for your harvest season? You're like, yeah. Everybody's excited about their harvest season, and then they get there to their harvest season, and they're like, whoa, what is this? This is not what I signed up for. Like, I did all the work on the front end, so I'll be able to enjoy my harvest season. And they are completely caught off guard. Like, it's amazing because we were talking about how things are working in your business right now and that you're actually in one of those harvest seasons right now and how much work is going into the harvest season. And most people get blindsided by the harvest season and the workload that is required with that harvest season.
Oh, 110%, right? So everybody, when we start talking about that harvest season, you know, it's almost like a sigh of relief, like I have arrived, right? I have arrived. But reality is this: in order for you to get what you need out of harvest season, you got to be willing to put in that work. You were telling me about that process of getting to the harvest season. Go ahead and talk to me about that.
So I've mentioned to you before, and we've kind of talked about this just growing up. I grew up in Mississippi, and my grandparents were sharecroppers. So if you don't know what that is, it's just basically someone that works with others that has a whole lot of land. And you find yourself as kids working in the land. You get a chance to go out, you get a chance to plant, till soil, all that good stuff that we don't want to do. Right. But the good news about it is you learn some things about nature. One of the things I learned is that, like, we would spend less time during the planting season, during the watering season, because oftentimes we didn't have to worry about doing the irrigation, but we would see that it's the harvest season that would actually be the most painful, the most work required. Because you go out during the beginning of the season in the spring, and you may go out and you may do a little planting, you might till the ground, and a lot of those things go by pretty quickly. But it's when you actually have to be meticulous during the harvest season is when you put in the most work. See, a lot of us, we have been tilling the ground for so long, and we have been planting seeds for so long, and we've been doing all the things we need to get to this harvest season that we are exhausted. Because to be honest with you, planting, tilling, watering, all those different things take something from you. All of those different things require energy. If you're watching this live and you've did some planning in your life, no matter what it is, you've been planning the different things you've been working on, put your hand, do a hand up. Like, I've been working on some stuff, and I know that it takes energy from me because, like, if you have the emoji of the little red battery, put that in the chat. Like, man, sometimes you feel like you on E. LaVar, you don't feel yourself working so hard, and you feel like you on E, and then you're like, man, I still got to keep going.
That's right. Busting your tail to get to the harvest season, just to get to the harvest season and realize you got to keep going. Just to get to the harvest season to realize that now is the time in that harvest season to really go hard and to be the best, or make sure that you get the best out of that harvest season, period, right? It's like wanting to be famous, right? And then getting all the way up until you're in the room with the people that can get you across that line and deciding you don't want to show up. You didn't even want to come to the meeting. You don't even want to get in the studio. You don't even want to act anymore. You don't even want to do like you should be doing. People do it all the time. They get right there. They bust their tail, get right there. It's time to go over that line. And then they're like, man, like, I didn't realize it was going to be this hard. I didn't realize I'm going to have to put in this much work. And we got to do better about that.
And that's the thing. When we think about how much work it takes to get to harvest season, and I'm not telling you that you don't want to make it to harvest season, because trust me, you do.
Oh, yeah.
You've been working for so long. You've been doing everything that you know you should do, some of the stuff you know you shouldn't do. Like, you've been doing so much to get there. You put in so much time and energy, so many sacrifices you've made to get to harvest season, and you're exhausted. And I get it. Not even going to tell you any lies. I get it. I've been exhausted so many different times in my life that I can't tell you that you're not going to be exhausted, because when you're working and you're actually putting in work, LeVar, look, it's a difference between somebody like this. Watch this. I know you can appreciate this because you go to the gym each day, right? Mm-hmm. So you got that one guy that goes to the gym and he looks good at the gym. He doesn't do anything, but he looks good, and he shows up every day to look good at the gym. And when he leaves, he has just as much energy as he had when he got there. Picks up, moves a couple weights around, maybe flirt with a female here and there, maybe talk about lifting weights, but you never really see him do anything. Then you have that person who shows up to the gym to look like this is their first day. They've been going to the gym for 2 years, but every time they leave the gym exhausted. Mm-hmm. In a year from now, you will see the difference in that person's life. But in the guy who's just showing up to be at the gym to say he went to the gym, there's no change. Mm-hmm. He didn't put it in the energy.
There's a process that everyone has to go through, T. Hutton. There's a process that everyone has to go through. My apologies about that. But when you're looking at wanting to get to the harvest season, you really got to ask yourself, is like, how much work am I going to be willing to put in order to get there? You said just a moment ago, well, I'm not saying that I don't want you guys to get to the harvest season. No, you're 100% right. We want you guys to get to the harvest season. You deserve to get to the harvest season, but realize that in order for you to go into the next season feeling good about the season that just passed, you got to make sure that you go all the way through. We push all the way through. You don't just plant and then, like, listen. So some people don't know about harvesting and farmers and stuff like that. Once harvest season comes, if you wait too long, you might lose that crop.
Thanks.
You may lose that crop. So my question to you is this: once you get there, aren't you willing to go even harder to stay, even harder to benefit the most out of it? That's where legacies are built. Legacies are built when people get there and they keep going in order to get to that next place. If you have bust your tail to get to your harvest season and you're willing to push through that harvest season to get the most out of it, I need you guys to put a fire sign in the chat, fire emoji in the chat, because right now there's a lot of people that are busting their tail and they're going to get right to the harvest season, and they're not going to put in the type of work that it's going to take to be able to benefit off of that harvest season.
But hold on, LeVar. I already put in the work that it took to benefit from the harvest season. That's how I got here. Like that's what I did. I put in all the work so I could be able to harvest something. You're telling me that the harvest is not going to go out there and reap itself? It's not going to go out there and just bring it. It's not just going to come to me. I can't just wait on it to come in. Like, I did all the planting, all the watering, all the tilling. I did everything I needed to for this harvest season to occur. You're telling me that I got to go out and do some more work?
Mm-hmm. You 110% right. Well, I got something even better. Just something just really just passed through my spirit. Listen, even right before you get to that harvest season, what you'll realize is that you'll see people start recruiting people that are going to help them in that harvest season. They have the right people that are by their side, workers, business partners, whatever it may be, in order to get the most out of that harvest season. They can't do it themselves. Mm-hmm. They can't do it themselves. So understand that, yeah, you're going towards that harvest season, but what are you preparing for what's going to happen once you get to that harvest season so you can go even harder in that season so that you can get the most out of it? Come on now. I hope somebody heard what I just said. This is real.
Hey, you know, I'm sitting here laughing at myself because I just thought about something. You're right. They go out and they recruit people to help them. And you know why? Because if you seed it correctly, you're going to get an abundant harvest. If you've actually did all the work on the front end, if you went out and you tilled the ground before you planted the seed and then you watered the ground along the way, like when it's time to harvest, you ain't gonna be able to get that harvest by yourself. And like LeVar said, you only got a small window to get the harvest in, because guess what? There's some vultures out there. I'm gonna preach to them for a second. There's some vultures out there that want your harvest. There's some people that's been watching you do all the work. They're like, man, if they don't get this harvest in fast enough, I'm getting some of it. And there's gonna be some people that's gonna be honest with you. They're gonna be blessed by your work because you didn't have enough time or you didn't put in the energy to get all your crops in time. You went out there and you started this business and you didn't cross every T, dot every I. Now somebody else is out there mimicking what you've already built. I was on the phone with a friend yesterday and we were talking about patents. And we were talking about how they say first the market, you get the market recognition. It's like a Kleenex. It's actually called a tissue, but everybody calls it a Kleenex. Give me a Kleenex. Mm-hmm. It's brand recognition. Mm-hmm. So if you don't do your part, guess what? Somebody else might get your brand recognition. Is somebody else being recognized for all your work because you failed during harvest season? That's a question.
See, it's very important that we understand something, that everybody has opportunities. Everybody has opportunities. Everyone goes into a harvest season. The problem is no matter how big or small that harvest season is, most people are not doing the work they need to pass through that harvest season in triumph, with success. So understand something. Y'all understand my mindset. So you go through that, right? You don't do what you may be right there. You don't do what you need to do, right? That's an L in your mind, right? So that's going to make it harder to go through that next season because you didn't do what you needed to do in the harvest season that came. Don't think that harvest season means that you're about to be a millionaire. That don't always mean that. It may not be that type of harvest that's coming in. Thanks. It may be a harvest that's there. That harvest is just full of people that are going to help you build and live your life. And you just happen to be in a harvest season that the right types of people are going to come in. The right types of people are going to come into your heart, come into your life in that harvest. That is the actual harvest. But if you don't do right by those people, if you don't do right by that work and they watching you, see, because you can get indoors, staying indoors is different. Staying indoors is different. You can get in the company of people that can change your life. Staying in the doors of those people that can change your life is different.
So hold on. Let me backtrack for what you said for a minute there. You're telling me that this may not be the harvest that I was looking for, but it's a harvest nonetheless. Is what it sounds like you said to me. So let me just clarify for those who's watching.
Boom.
What LeVar's trying to get you to understand is that this may not be the harvest that you was anticipating, but this is a harvest nonetheless. This may be the harvest that sets you up for the millionaire harvest. So look, it's funny because I wanted to touch on this. This is how I know we be working, we firing on all 8 cylinders, because in my head while you were talking, I was like, man, gotta make sure we let them know that in the harvest itself is oftentimes the seed for your next harvest.
That's right.
Let me say that again. In the harvest itself is the seed for the next harvest. See, when you're a planner, you know that there's some seeds that come along with the harvest itself. And those are the seeds that you're going to use next season.
That's right. That's right. Doing right by the land, doing right by the soil. Doing right by the soil. Y'all even understand.
If you grew up with any type of planting, green thumb people in your family, you will understand, like, you got to do right by the soil.
You got to do right by the soul now. You got to water it now. Listen, we got to understand this is a whole journey we talking about. If you're trying to get to the next level in your life, you got to start with the basics. Do right by the basics. I think I might have froze. Can you hear me?
No, I got you, man. And I pick up where you left off at. Like, you want to do right by the basics because the basics is literally the basin for where you're starting from. It requires a foundation to build upon something. So let me take this harvest and explain this to you like this. The first harvest is part of your foundation. Mm-hmm. The next harvest builds on top of the previous harvest, and so forth and so forth. And don't let yourself get to being the millionaire and think that that's it, because there's other harvests to come. More importantly, is there's more different types of harvests to come. Because you may already have reached that harvest in your financial life, but there's some harvests in your spiritual life, in your relationships, family ships, like all kinds of different things that you're dealing with that will really change your life if you really start to build on each one of those different harvests. Mm-hmm. Are you there? You good?
Hey, I'm here. Keep going. I got to figure this thing out right here. I'm about to.
Okay, no problem. So look, we want you to look at this like this. When you're looking at your harvest, know that your harvest oftentimes are going to require more energy from you than any time before. Any season beforehand, your harvest is liable to require more energy from you. If you don't take the time and energy and put into that harvest, you'll find yourself in a position where you have left too much out there to be picked away and to be taken away by the crows, the vultures, those who just want to take advantage of your hard work. We're telling you that I get it. You're tired. I get it. You've put in so much energy to get here that you don't know if you got enough energy to bring the harvest in. Like LeVar said, if you don't feel like you can do it by yourself, and oftentimes if you plan it correctly, you cannot. Get some help. Share that love with someone else. Sometimes it's better to be able to share it with somebody else than to try to do it all by yourself and not be able to do it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, understand something. What we're trying to tell you guys is this: at the end of the day, like when it comes time for that harvest, that's when you got to go even harder. That's when you got to push even harder. That's when you got to look at why you're doing what you're doing even harder, even more, right? Super important that you understand the significance of that harvest season. It is so much bigger than just getting paid or making money or whatever it may be. It's bigger than that. You get so much more out of getting all the way to that place and going even harder, because there's so many people that give up because it gets hard in the harvest season. It gets hard in the harvest season. When it's time for you to harvest those things that are absolutely amazing for your life, that's when you got to go even harder. No matter how tired you are, because we know the journey can be tiresome. It's going to be tiresome.
Don't say can be. It's going to be tiresome.
Right? It's going to be tiresome. It's meant to be tiresome. You're meant to learn in that particular place. It's going to happen. But you have to understand that is when you learn the most. That is when you really figure out who you are, what you are made of. You get in that harvest season, you start going so hard to push through that harvest season. And when you get to the other side of it and start preparing for your next harvest season, you have the strength, you have knowledge, you have wisdom that's going to help you push through, because it was meant for you to go hard.
You know what? Put Jessina's statement up there. Then I thought, and then remember, you can't get tired now. Like, I just want to touch on this because this is something I know personally I love. You know what I'm saying? You can't get tired and well doing that. I can quote you so many different biblical scriptures about that. Like, that's the thing. You know, you want to make sure that you understand that, yeah, you can't give up now. Like, I joked about it. I've said it before. I remember listening to a gospel song and it says, but when I look back on how far I've already came, like, I don't know about you, but for me, that's one of those things where I can look back at my life and see all the failures, all the tiredness, all those broken moments, all those shattered images of who I thought I would be in the mirror. And I know that, man, I'm still coming. I'm still becoming the best me possible. Like, I know that it's possible to continue to grow. Each harvest season has provided me with an opportunity to get a glimpse. Let me say that again, LeVar, a glimpse. I can't get the full picture, but I can get a glimpse of where I'm going. And that continues to motivate me, keeps me energized because I know there's more to be had. And you get glimpses into different portions of your life. Like you remember telling me, LeVar, you called me one day and I kind of laughed about it when you first told me. You said, bro, I just got a realization that I did not want. I said, what? You didn't want it? You said, yeah, man. I was thinking, I think you might have been praying, and God told you that you was gonna touch billions, and you was like, that ain't what you signed up for. You signed up to touch a few people, couple 100 million people, nothing great, nothing greedy. And God told you you're gonna touch billion, and you was like, that's gonna require a little bit more work for me on my part. I'm not sure if I signed up for that.
Right.
You remember that conversation?
Right. Oh yeah, I remember that conversation. I remember like it was yesterday. Right? Because all my life, I felt that God put me here to touch and bless millions. And I was like, you know what? I'm here to touch and bless millions. And I would tell people all the time, I'm here to touch and bless millions. But when God gave me that image, when he gave me that glimpse, when he said, no, you here to touch and bless billions, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Millions is not enough. Millions is not enough. Like, millions, that's already going to require a lot of work, right? Man, so I started looking at myself and I'm like, whoo, I got a lot of growing to do in order to be able to do that. But listen, once he gives you that vision, it's yours. It's there. You have an opportunity. That opportunity is to go and make sure you put into action in order to achieve that vision or not, right? Because it's still your choice at the end of the day. There's some people right now that have visions of the lives that they know they deserve, and they've not yet put in the work and the effort, the true work and effort in order to get to where they deserve to be, really. Because understand, you can sign up for something, but you got to sign up for the process. That's so much more important than anything, because if you're going to sign up for anything and don't sign up for the process, you're saying that I deserve to get somewhere without even thinking about how to get there. That don't make sense whatsoever. 0 sense, right? So we got to make sure that we're willing to go through the process, and the process goes all the way through the harvest season. It don't stop at the harvest season.
Look, I'll tell you this. I'll be remiss if I didn't share this with you all. I've had conversations with my wife about this quite often, about the fact that, it's not so much of getting that glimpse, because what that glimpse does for you is it motivates you. But you know what else it does for you? It makes you feel bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. It makes you feel bad. When you know that you're supposed to be out there to touch billions and you feel conflicted and convicted because you're not there yet. Like each time that you do something that does not go towards that dream, does not push and pull towards that dream, you should feel some type of way about it. That's right. Like it's different to know you're supposed to be a millionaire and you live in a humble lifestyle or just wanting it. But when you get a glimpse of it and then you sitting here living this mediocre lifestyle, if you don't feel convicted about it, bro, I don't know what to tell you. You should feel some type of way. You should feel a burning on the inside of you when you get that glimpse. You should feel like, hey, look, this needs to happen sooner than later, and I need to do everything I can right now in this moment. I cannot wait. Like, and you hear me say it all the time, LeVar, the only time that matters is now. If you're not willing to do it now, then don't talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Don't tell me you got a dream if you ain't willing to work for it. Don't tell me you got something that you want if you ain't going to put in the work. If you don't want to go through the process, don't tell me about your goal. I don't want to hear about a finish line if you're not willing to run the race.
Don't make sense. 0. And there's a lot of people that want to win, but they don't want to run the race. It's a lot of people that want to win. Huh?
They want to stand on the platform, get a gold medal, put a chain on.
That's it. They want somebody to give it like that. See, they want somebody to give it to them. But what they fail to realize is the people that have really achieved the things worthwhile have been the people that said, I commit to doing everything I see, because even before you talk about running a race, you got to talk about the process to getting to the race. You got to talk about the process of getting to the race. Then you get to the race. And you might not be as good as you want to within that race, but that's fine because you running that race will tell you where you are.
Measuring stick.
Now you have measured yourself and you say, you know what, I can do better. Let me go back and do better because I just got to win. I just ran a race. Probably never thought I would run that race, but guess what? I ran that race. And at that time, my harvest season was the knowledge that I needed to do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. You remember being on track team, LeVar?
I mean, now you got to go even harder. You got to go even harder to become better so that next race is that race that you've done even better than that last race. Y'all talk to me.
Man, first off, shout out to Coach T. Quick. Look, let's be honest with LeVar. I remember first time I ran a race in track, right? Ran a race and I did amazing. You know what I'm saying? I came probably like second to last place. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did great. You know what? The problem was it wasn't that I was slower than the other runners. It was that I didn't know how to get out the blocks. I was so slow coming out the blocks that by the time that I caught up, the race was over. And that's the thing it is in life. Like oftentimes it may not be what you're doing. You might be great at something, but it's something else that goes along with that. I was great at running, but I had problems getting out the block.
Yeah.
Either I came out too early or too late. And that's the thing. Sometimes in life, we can be great at something, but if we get out too early or we get out too late, it really dampers what it looks like to the outside world. And oftentimes, because we take too much attention to the outside world, we didn't get the kudos, the thumbs up, the fire signs on Facebook. Then now we feel like we're less than who we really are. Well, here's some good news for you. In this harvest season is about you. And that's why we're telling you that it ain't going to be easy because it's literally your harvest season. You put in all the work for it.
It's yours.
You got to continue to work for it and through it because it's a misconception that harvest season is going to be one of those times you kick back, put your feet up, and just relax. No, don't get me wrong. Harvest season is where you want to be at. But harvest season is one of the most difficult times of your life because it's a smaller window than any other time to really land and really take advantage of the things that you've worked so hard for. You got to get out there and work harder, smarter, and faster than everybody else if you want to get in all your harvest.
Yo, T-Hud, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Listen, I don't know what's going on with my computer. I feel like I feel like it's something trying to stop us from being able to give this message the way we need to be giving this message. It's so funny. It's all good. I can't even see nobody moving. I can't see you moving at the moment. But it's all good. It's all good because we're gonna give this message. Listen, I need everybody to make sure that you're sharing this. Make sure that you're commenting. Make sure you're inviting people to come back because information like this is game-changing information. A lot of people want to hear that the harvest season is just the harvest season where you won. Nah, that harvest season is a harvest season where you got to put in the most work, the most effort to make sure that you get the most out of it, right? A lot of people don't get it, but that's all right though, because we're going to make sure we spread this message. We're going to make sure as many people as possible get this information, right? That's what this thing is all about. That's what Grow, Live, Dream is all about. We understand the significance of the continual growing, living a life the way we deserve to be living our life, right? And dreaming, like we got to dream. We got to do it all over again. It's not enough of us that are understanding the significance of what we have to do in every season of our life to make sure that we win it. It's like looking at different areas of our life and expecting for all of them to be equal, all of them to be same. No, they're not. We got to better ourselves in so many different areas of our life, one area at a time, two areas at a time, but make sure that we understand that we're not equal in every area. We're here to make sure that we go through this harvest season the right way. We're here to make sure that we build our life the right way. We're here to make sure that we build the legacy that we deserve, the legacy that we deserve to be able to push forward the right way. So if we understand that and we put the energy in that we need to, we're going to change the game one person at a time. Because remember, you don't know who's tied to your harvest season. T. Hutton, go ahead and close this out, brother.
So what I wanted to say is this. we've talked about the harvest season, and we've talked about the harvest season in light of the facts that no matter how great the harvest season is, no matter how bountiful the harvest season is, no matter how much you're able to harvest, it requires work. It is not the relaxing season. It's not where you chill and kick your feet up and relax and say, yep, I made it to the harvest season. No, the harvest season itself is a work season. And it ain't a regular work season. It's where you work overtime. It's where most people who are farmers understand that this is where you get the least amount of sleep.
That's right.
It's where you put in the most of your work at. You've worked so hard all year long to get to the harvest season so you can work harder. Imagine that in life. You've worked so long that now you've been working to get to this season, and now you got to work even harder. The reality of it is this: the harvest season is worth it. You are worth it. It's possible to continue bettering yourself, but it requires work. The harvest season requires work. Here at Grow, Live, Dream, we want to see you accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. But know that you need to accomplish that in the midst of the harvest season. Continue to work, continue to strive, and we will be here to continue to support you the remainder of the harvest season and the next seasons to come. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing and hearing from you soon. Talk to you soon. Have a great one.